Since the Second World War, justice has become an international affair. War criminals are tried for crimes not only against their victims, but also for crimes against humanity. But are the cases that bring these criminals to justice effective? And are they really objective? Your questions today to Serge Brammertz, prosecutor at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, who joins us from The Hague. Mr. Brammertz, hello, thank you for joining us. So, you're ready to respond?
Hello.
First question on iTalk to Serge Brammertz.
Hello, my name's Miriam. I'm from Belgium. Do you have the legal right to judge all criminals throughout the world? Who has the power to ask you to intervene?
Yes, the Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia has jurisdiction limited to the territories of the countries of the former Yugoslavia. The Tribunal was established in 1993 by the Security Council to prosecute and try those responsible for crimes of genocide, war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in the territories of the former Yugoslavia.
Who can ask you to intervene? An individual or a state?
No, actually, as this court is an offshoot of the Security Council, theoretically, there is an obligation for all UN member countries to cooperate with our tribunal, but at the point of referral. It's the prosecutor's office which opens the investigation and who decides which files go before the judges and which ones are transferred to national courts.
Okay, the second question from Brussels to The Hague.
Hello, Mr. Brammertz. My name is Florence. I'm from Belgium and I live in Brussels. My question for you is this. Is the tribunal really independent since it's partly funded by NATO? How do you prevent it from coming under pressure from NATO?
Are you focusing too much on the interests of the West? There's been criticism in the past.
Well, it's certainly not correct to say that we are funded by NATO. We are a creation of the Security Council, so it's the UN budget that funds the tribunal, a budget which is discussed and decided every 2 years. Can it be objective in its work? Certainly. You know, we have lawyers, judges, investigators, analysts from 65 countries, and all, or most, come from the courts and national authorities. They are professionals, and they work independently and impartially.
Who do you nominate, for example?
The attorney is appointed by the Security Council on the proposal of the UN Secretary-General.
Okay, a third question for Serge Brammertz at The Hague.
Hello, my name's Laurie and I'm French. I want to know if the tribunal could judge the US military for crimes they've committed in Afghanistan, in Iraq, or widen your brief to include, for instance, President Bush, who decided to invade countries without the backing of strong evidence.
It's a question not unlike the first two.
Yes, as I said at the beginning, in fact, the Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia has a very limited jurisdiction, namely in relation to crimes committed on the territories of the countries of the former Yugoslavia. In The Hague, there is also the International Criminal Court, a permanent court that obviously has a much broader jurisdiction and is responsible for crimes committed in the territories of countries which have ratified the Rome Statute that created the International Criminal Court, or which are responsible for the records that were transferred, referred by the Security Council to this international court. That has been the case notably for Sudan and Libya.
Another question now, which in fact is in written form.
Do you believe that Croatia has done enough in solving crimes committed against Serbian people? Est-ce que vous pensez que la Croatie a fait assez pour résoudre les crimes qui ont été commis à l'encontre des Serbes?
Well, I would say generally that it is very important in the coming years, both in Croatia but also in Serbia and Bosnia, more investigations are conducted at national level. I'd say that is the challenge for the coming years. There are hundreds or thousands of cases waiting to be investigated and prosecuted, and that will be the biggest challenge, and this applies particularly to crimes committed in Croatia, and of course also includes crimes committed against Serbs, whether in Croatia or other countries.
But the Serbs clearly feel that these trials are always against them.
Yes, you know, in general, I would say there is still a lot of nationalism in the countries of the former Yugoslavia, and that remains a problem. It is unfortunate that often the people who are prosecuted in The Hague for genocide, war crimes and crimes against humanity, and often even after conviction at trial and on appeal, they maintain the support of public opinion. This is a communication problem. Perhaps it's from us, but there is sometimes a refusal to accept that people who were regarded as heroes for years and during the war actually abused the trust of people in the former Yugoslavia, and they are now condemned for their responsibility in the crimes.
Okay, another written question for Serge Brammertz. What's the purpose of maintaining this International Criminal Tribunal? What's the sense of maintaining it? Will it always have a meaning?
It's true, we have closed one chapter of our work on bringing criminals to justice. As you know, the remaining fugitives, Mladic and Hadjic, were arrested in 2011. But saying that, the work is certainly not finished. The trial of Karadzic, in particular, is in full swing, and the trial of Mladic and Hadjic have yet to start this year. So there will certainly be more work for some years to come.
Okay, another question for iTalk.
Hello, my name is Joseph. I'm Belgian of Congolese origin, and I often hear of the tribunal on television, and I wonder why many defendants don't recognize the powers of the tribunal.
Yes, I don't know, obviously, if the question refers more to the International Criminal Court, as it is a Congolese citizen, and there is a case, or many cases, being dealt with at the International Criminal Court that were committed in the former Yugoslavia, committed in the territories of the Congo. But I'm not really convinced the person asking the question is referring to the tribunal for the former Yugoslavia.
Okay,
and the last question for Serge Brammertz in The Hague.
My name is Dana. I'm Vietnamese. I was a political refugee in Belgium. If we judge war criminals, we must not forget their accomplices. Without accomplices, war criminals cannot do anything. Liberia, the Ivory Coast, Tunisia, Algeria, and even Mubarak. All these people deserve death. But unfortunately, there are accomplices, and without the accomplices, they don't have the power to do anything.
What's being done about the accomplices who often commit these crimes?
Yes, this is certainly a major challenge that requires cooperation between international and national justice. At the international level, it is clear that you can only pursue a limited number of people, and generally they are the most senior officials. With regards to our court, there have been indictments charging 161 people who, for the most part, have been generals, presidents and ministers. It is true, it's also very important to prosecute those who have a responsibility at the operational level, even at the intermediate level. We at the Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia have had rather intense and positive cooperation with the War Crimes Office in Serbia, Croatia and Bosnia. And at that level, everything is under control.
Donc à ce niveau-là, c'est sous contrôle, mais je suis d'accord avec la personne qui pose la question.
But I agree with the person asking the question. For a variety of cases, the International Criminal Court, another international court in The Hague, intervenes. There are international prosecutions, but we see very little action at national level, and that can be a problem.
Thank you for listening and answering these questions. We'll see you soon for another iTalk from the European Parliament here in Brussels. See you soon.